Good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy January 6th. And I'm really excited to be here again. But in all fun, tech happens, and I feel this important information is always something that's wonderful to be shared. So, as much as I loved yesterday's vibe, I wish you could have heard it. We had some audio, interesting tech fun, and we're back. So, my hope right now in this moment is that you can hear me when you tune in. So, please let me know. And I'm going to just take a moment and find this broadcast and make sure. Oh, yeah, we have sound. Okay. Perfect. Now I can just get into the information that I want to share. So, thank you very much for being here. We are already January 2024. Today's a beautiful day. It's raining here. It's cozy. I've got my coffee and sweaters and slippers and candle in the background. And I invite you to do the same. If you're going to be with me to listen into this, we're going to be about 40 minutes as we go through the energies throughout this month. And it's a time to just tune in. So if you choose to, you can get cozy as well. If you choose to be doing things around the house, just pop your earbuds in and take a listen. It'll always be here for you to come back to. One of the things that I've really loved about doing these forecasts is actually going back myself and listening near the end of the month to see what of those things, what of those energies really came to fruition. How did I empower myself through new decisions? What and how did it actually unfold? Because we don't know, right? We have an idea, we have a set of patternings, and we have a set of influences that can help us, but you're the determiner. This is at will in your own life, but this information can really help you connect to those inner workings where we can sometimes play in confusion, maybe even in drama story or victimhood just a bit longer than we want to be. And these are the things that can open up our perspective and our insights to make another choice and to dive in and to land into that. And so I want to speak just a moment about week one as we're near the end of it here, and really just talk about how did you experience it? Because we can already benefit from looking back on that versus having not had it come to fruition yet. And so week one, I felt from Monday to even Friday to now, it just started off with a bang. It was full speed ahead. I could feel the momentum. It was fun and exciting. And also, if I wasn't prepared in those areas for which I was feeling it, it could feel a bit overwhelming. And so it's okay if you experienced either side of that. There's always another side to be experienced. And so just think back with this theme, these first 2 weeks of the month, really inviting us into self-growth. There's making space for that higher wisdom to flow through, that higher purpose, that perception that can be more than what we've been looking at life with, and that truth and integrity to master our experience. We are the masters of our experience. But the way that our mind works and how we've not known for so long, or maybe interpreted and then embodied beliefs, is that we're at the whim of our thinking mind. We're at the whim of life circumstances. So this reflective period at the end of 2023 into now will really be pointing out to you those places that we're wanting to make change. Those places where I had enough and something's got to give. Sometimes it's in relationship with a new way to communicate, or maybe setting some new boundaries to speak and ask for what you're wanting. Maybe it's in your money or your career where you know that you're here to be of higher service and you've been a bit fearful in showing up. You're going to be finding ways to be able to move past that by recognizing what it was exactly that's keeping you, holding you back. These are the beautiful, opportune times to gain support, find the circles that can help you grow beyond just trying to do it all yourself, to have that higher perspective, to keep you in that empowered state of mind when it's so easy as entrepreneurs to get defeated by all the things that aren't going well. And so this other opportunity to really just look within at ourselves and get truthful in, this is about being of service. It's really not about our fear, even though it's our responsibility to move through those things and get to the other side. It's also about helping that one person because you're already far enough ahead in your journey to be able to help them. And sometimes doing all the things and all the steps and looking for the how in our business, we forget and lose sight that it's about them, not us. So be of service and really let that expand from realizing how far you've come in that growth. So there's a lot of looking back so we can really see the growth and honor that looking forward, not see what we didn't do and then beat ourselves up. Is this making sense? So that is the way that this first 2 weeks is going to start out. It's a new year. It's a new month. It's a 1 on the first day of the month. We are on that one energy day, really welcoming in the idea of new beginnings, the hope, the anticipation, the excitement for a new start. This is your opportunity to take time to claim what went well last year, even though it was chaotic, even though it wasn't as you expected, even though everything might have pivoted from what you first started with. What did you learn? What did you take away as growth? Who are you now as a person that you didn't even think you could become sitting right here, right now, back this time last year? Be honest and truthful with yourself on the little steps that it took to get here and claim those little steps. Journal them, put them somewhere so you can come back to them and add to it. When we get in the habit of looking at our gains, we stop treating or teaching the mind that it can only look at the losses. And when we start opening ourselves up to gains and all the things that we've gained in wisdom and experience and trial and tribulation, we see that we have evidence to do it again. So no matter what area of life we're wanting, more health, more wealth, more well-being, we have evidence that we've done it already, even if it didn't turn out the way we expected. And that's the point. The mind can't possibly know how it's going to turn out in the future. You can only know by stepping in. So there's a very big theme about stepping in and starting new cycles, planting new seeds, and allowing yourself to continue the growth that you've been experiencing till this moment, right? So January in itself is a 9 energy month. We're going to talk a little bit about the layering of these energies and how we might be experiencing them. When this year kicked off, it was very fast. It was speedy. There's a lot of momentum, and that's because the year itself, 2024, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 is an 8. So that 8 energy really wants us to master our experience. It's going to go fast. It's going to be lots of momentum. There's going to be lots of abundance. There's infinite potential and possibility. But it also could very much be stirring up the places of overwhelm where we don't have our foundation completely stable and secure. But that's wonderful because those are the focus areas for the starting point into the year. So if you're feeling a little shakier in your career or in a change that you're wanting to make or found finances, there's an opportunity to find new ways to love where you are so you can move into where you're going to be. You have to become, you get to become the expression of that wealth, of that health, of that relationship. It doesn't begin outside of you, it begins within you. And so it's really pointing us to the things that want to come to an ending as this 9 energy of the month is coming in. So 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4. So the 1 for January plus the year digits altogether is a 9. The 9 wants us to graduate from what was. The 9 wants endings to come in the cycle of energy so it can birth again into something new. Energy doesn't die, it just moves forward into something else. We're not at the whim of what it moves forward into. We actually get to choose how we want to feel and which direction that wants to go by us remaining in that feeling state. The feeling state produces the next steps, not the brain. We can get so tripped up in all the things the brain wants to do at one moment, the mind, that we're doing 1,000 things and getting nowhere. So this is really a specificity in letting those endings come into new beginnings. And what is your relationship with more? What is your relationship with endings for that matter? And those might be some beautiful areas to expand upon with a coach, in a group, with reading materials or resources. But be willing to look and maybe even journal on that for you. And right now, in this moment, in this fresh new beginning, you get to create a fresh new definition. Doesn't matter what my definition of it is. Doesn't matter what someone else's $1,000,000 represents or is. It's what matters to you, where you are right now, and how you define it for you now. And so 2024, as we're creating change and trusting, we're also creating that foundation of steadiness and alignment, right? So we want to be aligned for that momentum ahead. We want to accept that invitation to see situations from higher perspectives, a bigger purpose, or consider the larger impact of your choices to this moment. If you're getting a lot more of what you don't want to have happen, where can you take responsibility for that and look within to see what other perspective or higher viewpoint you can capture around your own situation? There's always an expanded perception and perspective available. So for a moment, if you could imagine sitting up higher like a bird on a perch and looking around, I always think of it as like when I'm sitting in my backyard, I see my yard, I love it. I'm having this experience in my backyard. But sitting on the couch looking out to everything in my yard is a lot different than the bird that's on the perch in the corner seeing all 4 yards and what's happening in there. And so we have that ability to move out of our blinders and look at that higher perspective. And that's what's being asked, no matter how you're feeling right now, no matter what you're experiencing right now. Is there forgiveness that can lead you into a higher perspective? It's not condoning behavior, but there's a way we've held the toxicity of guilt and shame. There's a way that we've prevented ourselves from not having what we want, and we're getting something out of it. So when we can get truthful at what we're actually getting out of it, we can move past it. And if you're right here saying, I'm not getting anything out of feeling that way. Well, you're still feeling that way. So subconsciously, you're getting something out of it. It's preventing you from taking next steps somewhere that feels safer staying here than moving forward. So when you can have grace and compassion for yourself in those moments of realization, you can therefore then allow your mind to expand to what else could be happening for you in this situation, not just to you. What else can happen through you as you, like wealth, like money flow, like health and vitality, like loving relationships. We get to become the expression of that first. So we're going to see clearing away and closure of the way we've perceived people, the way we've perceived ourselves, the way we've experienced life and our desires. And we'll notice what we're holding on to. The resistance, the control, the I'll have plan A, B, and C in place so I will be ready for the fall. This energy is asking you to just let go. Don't plan for a fall. Don't plan to be prepared to get ready to get ready. Just go. Just move. Learn from experience. Learn from the leap that you were taking in 2023 and allow it to unfold with building a new relationship with the unknown. So these first 2 weeks, this one's almost complete. Where have you had to trust in the unknown and watch it unfold in ways better than the mind could have ever thought of? This is that invitation. It's going to continue so we can start creating a new experience in the physical mid-month by trusting that how we think and how we feel starts to produce new results, right? The feeling state is the key to the manifestation. It's not always just the thinking, because our thinking can be wrong, but our gut will always let us know when something isn't aligned, and our heart will always speak louder to what's possible. And that resonance field in the quantum, in the invisible areas, the waves and particles, they all respond to the frequency of the heart. So what's your overall frequency that you're operating from on a day-to-day basis? And are you willing to expand this year to step into a new frequency to experience new results? Those results are already here waiting for you. And we think something we have to do more of to get results. They're already here waiting for us to raise our frequency, to be able to expand our awareness enough to see the next possibility, which I think is so good. So this month will be mentally stimulating. It'll be emotionally charged. It'll be activating your reserves of self-love and compassion. So if those reserves are a little depleted, now is the time to find new ways to nurture, to prioritize that self-care, to prioritize grace and compassion for where you've been, where you find yourself now, and where you're going in the future. It's about coming back to the present moment. It's not about worrying what was. It's not about focusing on what isn't yet. It's really about right here, right now. What's happening? What's going on in the body? What's the body signaling to you? Because it loves you and it doesn't always feel like it. It feels like it's the enemy. Something's wrong. There's pains. It's gained weight. like we're focusing on the problems, not the resolutions. We're focusing on the problems, not the peace. And the body has been for many, many years, many of us decades, stuck in fight or flight mode, and it doesn't know how to be in rest and repose. So even when we think the difference, the body's got to catch up. So many of you will be experiencing these examples of, I feel like I'm going backwards from the growth that I had. You're not ever going backwards. You know more now in this moment than you did 1 minute ago, 10 minutes ago, yesterday, 2 weeks ago, which is why we focus on the gains of how far we've come. So we can start retraining the mind how to focus on new neural pathways, and results come quicker because we start seeing evidence and feeling better about ourselves, not worse, right? And so where are those patterns for you right now? Where are those areas of growth that are a top of mind focus for you? If you want to capture them in the chat, feel free to write those in there. So let's talk about opportunities that arise. There's going to be many opportunities for us to take that leap and to really allow ourselves to experience something new in a fresh new way, and that becoming for which we're really wanting to step into. And there's going to be opportunities for us to see what's needing to be let go for us to take that next step, right? I can tell you, like, in my business, I was working so hard for the expansion that's coming. I was working to get all the systems in place, to get my own flow, new habits created. And I'm still in the exploration of that. Who I was pretending to be, what is the reality of what is going on when I'm actually taking the steps and doing the actions, and then what needs rearranged, what needs to be focused a little bit more until that new habit is embodied. These are some of the things that we're looking at next part of the month that's coming in. So yesterday was a really big day of change, right? So what hadn't changed very much in your awareness the early part of the week may have been there yesterday, and we could be experiencing that 5 energy with the 9 of spades as disappointment or an invitation into higher expression, right? Showing up more fully, shining your light without fear, unapologetically being you in your life, asking for what you want, having those harder conversations, especially like I'm feeling into like those who've been married or with their significant other for a very long time. You assume they know how you're thinking. They assume they know what you want. They're not mind readers. They cannot know unless you express it. And so no matter how you've expected them to know because you've been together for so long, there are words to be said and conversations to be had and triggers to be navigated so you can be heard and seen and understood. And the more that you're able to do that, the more you're able to see and hear and understand yourself and apply those to all other areas of your life where you may have been playing small or shrinking your light because you've learned or been taught or conditioned that it wasn't okay to step in, right? And it feels so out of alignment to not be more of you. So the fear of what people think or the fear of loss or the fear of rejection may be coming up for you to let go of those disappointments and realize that there is another way to think about it. And it starts with becoming it and expressing more of who we are to see what's still in alignment. I can tell you that this year, what I discovered moving into this one is there were a lot of words not being said, thinking that they were being said, thinking that you just got it. And after 30 years of my own relationship, we are learning to communicate in a brand new way, learning to see each other in a certain space, learning to meet each other through each level of awakening without expecting the other person to be exactly where they are. And so I feel like this is that energy. Where is that happening in all areas of life or in your own internal relationship with self that wants to be righted in right sacred relationship? And that's going to require more love and compassion than you've ever poured into yourself before. This is a vessel that helps you express, touch, feel, experience all the senses while right here on this earth. It's not always about being so high in the metaphysical clouds that we don't experience the depth and the savoring beauty of what's here right now. And so there's always going to be an opportunity to experience more, expand our love for self and others, and our perception of what's happening. So January 14th through 26th, we begin journeying into the physical feedback from all the internal workings and ideas and decisions and perceptions that are bringing us into a more empowered state, bringing us into a higher expanded perception, to release the toxicity of holding on to anger or hate or guilt or shame, and really letting that forgiveness unfold new gratitude, new appreciation, right? The energy of that without just making a list because someone said to, but really feeling it to the bones of your being. Really allowing yourself to see the error of your ways in misperception, and really landing into what's happening in this graduation, what's been wanting to graduate in the physical experience from this inner work that we've been doing. There might be a lot of clearing. I don't know about you guys, but I started clearing out the house about 2 weeks ago, feeling the energy of this coming. It was no longer okay for my drawers to be this like place of drop off in my bathroom. Like I really gutted everything, took 3 bags of junk of old expired lotions and all the things, and reorganized what's present now. It's that kind of energy that may be wanting to have a little bit of your attention in your physical space because of the inner work that you've done. And it could also be the space that might be organized, calling for that inner organization of thoughts and feelings and focus as well. So you get to play with that. So where some of the topics when we step into the diamonds, right? Which if you're not familiar with the Book of Life, they're like a deck of cards. So we're really working off the suits and the numbers. But the essence is more important to capture here as you're listening in. But with the diamonds, the diamonds love outcomes. And so they can get, and that energy can get very focused on outcomes instead of the journey of the results to get to the perceived outcomes. Because again, those are going to turn out differently when we're in the movement of it than the perception of not working out for us or not doing the movement. Though we have lots of reasons not to, but when we do, we find something new about ourselves we didn't know before. Something else reveals itself. So health, wealth, world, finances, economy, material building of things, like legit material building of things, or things themselves will be present and prevalent during this time. But it's also reflecting our self-value, our self-worth, and our ability to receive. So when we think of expanding these areas, we check in with our ability to receive more. What does more feel like? Does it feel greedy? Does it feel luxurious? Does it feel grounded? Does it feel deserving? And then all the ways that we can check in with ourselves to allow even more of that by either redefining what more is or experiencing ourselves in more to help heal any of the past patterns that are keeping us from that feeling that we want to experience. What keeping us making excuses, thinking that it not in our lifetime is that our destiny, right? Wealth is your birthright. Vitality is your birthright. What's happened is we just haven't known any different. We didn't know what we didn't know. And we've been conditioned from not having these things in our conscious awareness. And those things have become habits and behaviors and patterns. And those patterns can reveal what can be changed into new patterns, new habits, new behaviors. And this is that time of this month, particularly, that are going to welcome that change of value and how we perceive ourselves, our relationship with receiving, and do we believe that we can have it all? Do we get triggered by the words have it all? What does have it all mean for you? What does it mean when you have it all? Because in the end, again, this system brings us back into our own self. That's all that matters. Otherwise, we're comparing ourselves to some ideal that isn't even aligned for us. So in your business, in your life, in your health, in your wealth, in your finances, do you believe you can have it all without struggling first? It's a very big key component. Do we believe there's something missing in our ability to flow abundance and manifest material wealth? Is something wrong with us? Do we not get the memo somewhere? Do we not get the right program, the right thing? This is going to invite you into an experience of yourself. So it's not always the thing, it's what produces a new experience of what's happening within you. Those are the focuses for this month. Those are the focuses of saying yes to programs that can invite you into those next level experiences. because you're willing to step into that next level. You're willing to 10x your life, not just stay over in the 2x. I've been reading this book, which I highly, highly recommend. And this, off the bat, you're going to think, oh, 10x my money. And I don't know if I agree with that, right? I mean, maybe that's not what you think, but there's a tendency for the essence of that. But this is really talking about where we get ourselves stuck in the mundane when we know we're meant for more. And when you go through an experience, you can see yourself and remember parts of you that you may be lost in the confusion, lost in the chaos of life, and start remembering that you've always been that thinker. And again, new evidence to remind yourself that you've done it before. Okay, so during this time, we're invited to check inward and let go of any of those money beliefs, body beliefs that keep us feeling separate from. I can't because it must be easier for someone else. It's just not in the cards for me to have the body that I want. It's just not in the cards for me to have an easy income stream. What are those thoughts and beliefs? Addressing and healing these will open you up to receive a momentum of prosperity that is absolutely for you to receive this year. So this is the year. If you've been avoiding those kind of experiences or help with a coach or mentor, now is the time to really land into that, so you can start creating new evidence that you can do it and do it and do it and do it again. And you're always going to meet yourself at a brand new level that's going to open up maybe just a little bit more depth of that belief system that wants to be rewritten. Nothing is rising for you to be in misery. It's rising to be released and transmuted into something more. So we have to decide, we get to decide what more is. And if we don't fill it with more, we're just going to fall back into the pattern that kept it perpetuating to begin with. So it's about being intentional. It's about seeing where we haven't been intentional with our consciousness, our conscious awareness. It's about bringing subconscious patterns into the light to create new conscious patterns. And it's about being graceful and compassionate with ourselves as we try, not even try, I don't like that word, as we step into who we become as we set these new groundworks coming forward. Where is the ease? Where is the confusion? Are we willing and ready to move through that to get to the other side of it? So we're going to see a reflection of our physical experiences that are going to reveal the curiosities that lead us to those new belief systems and allow us to release the control we've perceived and didn't know we were, the unconscious patterns of control, but most imperatively that resistance. And I can tell you that I used to run from that feeling. I didn't like it. It brings in discomfort. It brings in truth. It brings us seeing ourselves in a way that maybe isn't always comfortable. But through that resistance is always the freedom. And so now when resistance comes up, I still feel that way at first, but I realize that the only way out is through. And so you may have been meeting yourself in those moments of invitation as well. And this month, they're going to be so prevalent, you can't not see them anymore. But you'll be moved into making a new decision and choice. And just beyond the decision of deciding, you're going to be asked to really step in and commit. No more toe dipping and checking the waters out. This is all in leaps toward what you're wanting, so you can experience the momentum that's here for you. And you'll know if something's off because you're going to be feeling the momentum of what you don't want to feel that much more. So it works both ways. We have a new moon in Capricorn on January 11th. That's going to invite the release of that indecision. It's going to shed anxiety if we let it and propel us into powerful decisions that amplify our abundance. I love to say, we're planting these sacred seeds of success that can lead us to the fulfillment and satisfaction we seek. But when we're perpetuating in worry and anxiety and frustration, I feel like specifically those words are an invitation to create. We're not creating, we're spinning in loop. And then we're pretending that that is all that there is. And so what are you pretending to not tell yourself in things that you want to be creating? You want to create better health, better organization in your home? Do you want to create a space to write, a space to light a candle, a space to sit in meditation? Something has been top of mind for you to create that you've been denying yourself. And without lack of focus and intention on going that direction, your mind has pulled you back into the very same loop that's been familiar, right? And it's literally begging, your body's begging for a decision to love that anxiety and move it into something else. But the more we resist the love of it, the more it perpetuates. So if you can take away anything, really feel into those moments of indecision, worry, frustration, anxiety, and ask yourself, how can I love this more? And what am I not creating in this moment that's been keeping my attention distracted? And see where it takes you, one small step at a time. Can be really powerful. And the full moon that we're coming upon January 25th. So we're coming into that new moon this week, right? On the 11th, which is really powerful, which is one of the reasons that my friend Jessica and I put together a workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop with an included integration day and 3 days Voxer support following. So we can really land into what are those things that are wanting to move right now and help you move them. We're going to do that by diving deeper into the energies of the next 3 months moving forward. So how that's affecting you in your goals, your focus, I'd rather say, for 2024, and what's present right now that wants to move out of the body so we can energetically move it. And then we're inviting in breath work as an experience to really release it and shift it and move it through. And I love the way Jessica does breath work. I've done a couple different classes and I found it kind of constricting and hard to keep up. But with her version, it's so flowing and it just lets you be yourself. And it really does move, it just opened your body in a way that I didn't expect. And so we know that breathing is always that free key for ourselves to move through anything. But when you can actually utilize your own breath to move you through some of this, you don't have to wait for it to subside. You get to actually get to be intentional in the actions that move us there. So please join us. I'll be popping the link down below. The link is going to be if I haven't shared it in this group yet, we'll be sharing it here, but it's also on my main page. Or just message me, reach out for that. We'd love to have you join us. You'll get the replay. I'm creating a workbook this week, and then you'll have the beautiful breath work example, as well as that continued support by us through that weekend. That's a Thursday. So we get to literally settle and nestle into this new moon release, as well as this claiming of taking that responsibility for our experience and move out what's keeping us from experiencing it fully. So let me know if it's interesting to you. And then we pop into that full moon in Leo 2 weeks later on the 25th. And that's going to reveal the truth in your perceived value. So we're coming back into the value conversation and for us to be able to see what's moved. What seeds did we plant and what came to fruition? What starts to grow and needs nurtured and watered, right? It's so symbolic for our own selves. But what wants to bloom into this beautiful final result? We don't stop watering once the seedling starts, we pour it on more, right? So that trust yourself and find what makes you shine so you can embrace that part of yourself despite fear and rejection. It's time for you to step up and step out. Step out fully. If you're not willing to step up and step out, then step out completely and stop putting yourself through the pain of it. That's the essence of this workshop for us, because we realized this is as much for us as it is for you, because the truth of that is so prevalent. And we're really going to be landing into that this month. And it's a reminder that it's okay to feel what's on your heart, right? To bring that out into the world. Don't be afraid to show your heart. Those who are meant to hear it will find you. Those who are meant to not hear it can move on, can just swipe left, can just move out without it being a personal anything. You're setting the foundation for what matters to you, that voice in your heart, that soul song that wants to sing. And those beautiful full moons are a great time to look back at the seeds that were planted on the new moon to see what's coming into fruition and what needs more love and support from yourself in that. And then we finalize this month in January on the 27th through 31st. We begin to welcome in a great time to be sharing those ideas, share those thoughts, because they're going to be received with more love than you believe that to be true. And they're going to nurture and They're going to provide you a space to nurture and love them more, yourself, and love yourself as you're expressing them. Does that make sense? And whatever that is for you, some of you are in the coaching space in here. Some of you have your own beautiful businesses. This is all an expression of you. And there's been a place you've been holding yourself back that's really inviting you to step the heck in this year, right? It's like the Titanic and you're just on the edge and you're just open and ready. It's that kind of that feeling without being like, I don't know. No, you're just like, whoa, top of the king of the world, right? King of the world. So this mental development is that invitation to consider your belief related to the question at hand. So what is it for you? What is top of mind for you? And what is your belief about that top question at hand? What is your mental perception about you, about them, and about your relationship with your mind? And would you be willing to love your mind just a little bit more? I know for some of you, you're like, what? Love the anxiety, love my mind. My mind's a pain in the butt because that's where I was. And then one day it just clicked. If I love my mind and I love these old patterns for showing up, they remind me that I can choose again. And so I can start to befriend my mind and just start to direct it in a new way of intending, segment intending, right? Without the intention, we are just swirling in inner tension. We're thinking we're the mind. And we're actually the soul in the body that gets to direct both mind and body. And when we can bring it together in a coherent manner, it lights up the signal in the heart, and we can feel into what we're wanting as the result of that outcome we're determining most. The 50 pounds lost, the $1 million, whatever that is, has a feeling state attached to it. And when we can focus on the feeling state and hold that in our heart before it arrives, we get to witness the synchronicity begin to unfold that takes us closer and closer to where we're looking back one day already there. And when you get there, then what? So many times, I promise you in life, the big house, the bank account full of thousands and thousands of dollars in reserve, the ability to go wherever you want is wonderful. But when you get there, you're still going to be searching for more. And you're going to find it's not more money. And you're going to find when you hit that goal weight, it was never the number. It's the experience of you believing in you to get there. And the more that you're looking for is purpose, more of your purposeful expression, more of being all of you unapologetically, more of taking who's been shoved in the closet and coming out and shining your light, not caring what people think, but because you can't help but to. You wouldn't be in this group if you didn't have that feeling. So this invitation for 2024 is for you to really step into that purposeful expression, being in your power, not giving your power away to circumstances, victim thinking, someone else's decisions for your life, or those should, need tos, and have tos that can keep us so segmented in perfectionism and multitasking and doing all the things for everybody else. So as you experience the letting go of those habits, those people, those beliefs, that you're now primed for these new ideas and revelations to unfold. And as you step into that, the next steps show themselves. So be mindful of where we're looking for the how instead of just being in the next step. That thing on your mind that it would be great if I could just take X amount of time for myself and go do XYZ. Go take that amount of time for yourself. Go do XYZ and see what unfolds from there. If you can't do it fully, take 5 minutes. Gift yourself that experience so you have the wisdom of going through and doing that experience, not the misperception of it's not for you. And there's so many times we find ourselves in that, especially in entrepreneurship. Because as those steps unfold towards new habits, new connections, new belief systems that better serve you in that forward momentum, they're also going to convey and cultivate more mastery of self-belief and possibility in yourself. They're going to be that step that builds that trust and confidence in yourself moving forward, to allow yourself for it to feel good, to allow yourself for it to be amazing, to be so proud of yourself for saying yes, to jump into those places you didn't know you needed, to stop doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting new results. Take that leap. You'll never regret that experience. And it will serve you threefold, tenfold right? The monetary amount of gain that you get for spending 3 grand on yourself in a context, in a container, can produce $30 million over a span of your lifetime because you learned to let go of what was keeping you from moving forward to begin with. And if you can think that exponentially, you can really find value in letting yourself be the value, letting yourself spend on yourself, letting yourself feel the deserving of the experience that your heart's desire is calling. It's the energy of death and rebirth, paving the pathway ahead for more resources, more leadership, and more self-authority to flow. It's going to flow through you as you, the woman you're becoming who steps into that big next vision goal, that big, the big next level vision that you set for yourself. Whether that's getting to the gym and sticking with it, whether that's connecting with your family or your spouse on a deeper level, whether that's allowing yourself the wealth to flow, whether that's educating yourself on the things in business that you don't yet know so you can keep moving forward into your dream, and allowing yourself to pivot when you come up to that point where things don't feel aligned any longer. So you can move forward without holding yourself to some old expectation or condition, allowing it to birth forth. This is part of the unknown. Can't possibly know all the steps, right? That vision of your life and business gets to be your way. And anything that tells you it can't be your way is a way that you've conditioned yourself to think that it's separate from you. And this month is going to be so beautifully opening you up to experience yourself beyond what was known, beyond those shoulds, need tos, and have tos, into what's next. So next month can be more of the expression of being in this new version of you. And you don't have to know all the pieces to be the new version, but you can be mindful of what wants to pull you back and keep you feeling safe in the misery because at least it's familiar. So that's what I have for you for this month. I would really love to know how this lands for you, what takeaways that you have, the overall essence of what is the message that you're receiving from this. And I really invite you to come back midpoint of the month, end of the month, and re-listen to this and see what really began to unfold for you. Because you can listen and listen and listen to things, but unless you implement those little fire sparks inside you that like, yeah, that's what I need to do, you'll never get further than you are currently. And so allow yourself to implement the information that inspired you, whether it's in this forecast, in someone else's podcast, and anything that you're coming across. Without implementation, you're not in action. Action is what breeds results. Focus, intention, aligned action, new experience. Focus, intention, aligned action, new experience. You're going to experience yourself different ways along the way, but don't give up. Because the places that mattered to you most and you didn't think twice about it and you just did the thing, motherhood, getting through school, learning to ride a bike for a first time, learning to walk and talk, like you just did them and you never looked back. Any of your desires are the same. All right, you guys, have a beautiful rest of your Saturday. Thank you for being here live. Thank you for catching the replay. I look forward to hearing how you receive this information. Super glad the sound was on today. And I hope that I will see you again next week. Bye for now.